Happening right now, vaccine pause.
They're pausing so that they can look at it more carefully.
It's the big story tonight. Johnson & Johnson's shot in rare cases causing blood clots.
There is some number of people, some very slight fraction, who can have a serious side effect.
We're digging deeper, taking a closer look at the issue, examining these blood clot cases, investigating how it's impacting our local supply, and verifying what you're seeing on social media. WCNC Charlotte's team coverage, Johnson & Johnson's vaccine pause, starts right now.
Those stories in a moment, but first, breaking news. A child shot and rushed to the hospital. This is happening in Gastonia in the 12 block of Ware Avenue. A source told our Brandon Goldner that a 7-year-old girl was injured in a shooting just after 8 o'clock tonight. Right now, it's not clear what led up to the shooting or the condition of that little girl. When we get new information, we'll let you know. And now to our other big story this evening, the federal government pausing its use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
We've been covering it all day long, and we know it's a lot of information to take in, so we've made it our mission tonight to walk you through the facts. So, as we've been reporting, 6 women out of the nearly 7 million people who've received the vaccine developed rare and severe blood clotting. Now, medical experts are working to find out if the vaccine is actually causing these blood clots and whether there are other factors at play. Vanessa Rufus kicks off our team coverage with what we know about these cases and just how extremely rare they are.
We know there are a lot of questions about the situation, so we went straight to the experts. Our sources are a joint statement from the CDC and FDA and infectious disease doctors, David Wohl with UNC and Cameron Wolfe with Duke Health. As we mentioned, the blood clot reports are extremely rare. More than 6.8 million people in the U.S. have gotten J&J, and there have been 6 cases reported. That's literally a less than 1 in a million event and translates to an incidence rate of 0.00009%. All 6 cases were in women on the younger side, 18 to 48 years of age, and the medical scenario itself unusual. Blood clots alongside low platelet counts. 1 woman died and another is in critical condition. Dr. Wolfe sees similarities to AstraZeneca, which is also being investigated for clotting concerns and is the same type of vaccine as J&J, a viral vector.
That'll probably for sure be one of the things that the CDC and FDA regulators are looking at to say, can we learn from the AstraZeneca experience here?
Some countries have paused AstraZeneca's use, while others have slid administration to older groups, which aren't as prone to these clots. U.S. health officials now face a decision, and there is a lot to consider.
J&J may end up being a safe vaccine, except that there is some number of people, some very slight fraction, who can have a serious side effect. So if it's a 1 in a million, Jimmy, is that acceptable for a vaccine that saves X number of lives, keeps people out of the hospital? These are tough decisions. I don't have the answer to that. Medical ethicists have to weigh in on this as well.
Doctors say if you are within 3 weeks of having gotten your J&J vaccine, you can monitor for symptoms like severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath. If you have any of those symptoms, call your doctor right away. If you are beyond that 3-week window, you're likely okay. Vanessa Rufus, WCNC Charlotte.
With the Johnson & Johnson vaccine paused, it means clinics across the Carolinas are now forced to change their plans. But as Hunter Sines found out, it's not necessarily a scramble since supply has finally caught up with demand.
Doctors and medical experts tell me the vaccine supply will be fine even without the Johnson & Johnson shot. But there may be a few instances where things could get a little tricky.
From StarMed clinics to Bojangles Coliseum to a pharmacy near you, vaccines don't stick around for long.
We've been staying pretty busy.
StarMed tells us they received 20,000 doses just this week. 500 of them were the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that will not be used.
Luckily, we haven't had to rely on Johnson & Johnson. We've been mostly doing Moderna and Pfizer, like you said.
For StarMed and many other area providers, they'll simply sub in one of the other vaccines since Johnson & Johnson was halted.
The reality is to replace it doesn't take any effort on our side because we have plenty of vaccine to do that with.
Mecklenburg County Health Director Gibby Harris says she's not worried about supply either.
Currently, we have sufficient vaccine with Pfizer and Moderna to get through our clinics this week.
The only concern would be clinics that were heavily dependent on the single-shot vaccine, like more rural areas or colleges and universities, where a one-stop shop was more convenient for people.
For those situations, it definitely does cause a bit of a problem.
UNC Charlotte canceled its Johnson & Johnson vaccine clinic and is looking to secure one of the other vaccines. Dr. Paramzadian says no matter the fate of the single-shot option, the race to vaccinate will continue.
I think the supply is going to be perfectly fine.
Harris says almost 20% of Mecklenburg County is fully vaccinated, so clearly there's a long way to go here. It's why she is urging everyone, no matter if it's the Pfizer or the Moderna shots, when it's your spot, get the shot. Star Med will have walk-up clinics available, no appointment needed, for the rest of the week. All that information can be found on our WCNC mobile app. In East Charlotte, Hunter Signs, WCNC Charlotte.
Our Verify team has been combing through claims online following today's Johnson & Johnson announcement. So our team went to the experts and looked at the statistics to find out what's real and what isn't. Here's Evan Kosloff with Verify.
A big announcement from the CDC and the FDA when they recommended pausing the Johnson & Johnson vaccine after 6 women developed blood clots after getting the shot. And look, there are a lot of statistics that are being thrown around right now, so we're going to dig into the numbers. Let's verify, are you more likely to see blood clotting if you have COVID than if you've gotten the Johnson & Johnson shot? Here are sources: the CDC, the FDA, and 2 Johns Hopkins University experts, Dr. Panagis Galiatsatos and Dr. William Moss. All our experts say that based on what we know right now, these risk factors are worlds apart. So far, only 6 women have been identified as having these CVST blood clots. That's out of almost 7 million Americans who have taken the Johnson & Johnson shot.
If that number 6 is all the cases, then we're talking about 1 in a million. It's possible that there are more cases that will turn up in the coming days.
Meanwhile, it's a completely different story for COVID cases.
The risk of blood clots is much higher, certainly in individuals who are hospitalized and have severe COVID.
The worse your COVID-19, right? So say that you're sick enough to land in an intensive care unit, probability of developing a blood clot's about 31%.
So that's about 3 in 10 versus 1 in a million. Our experts say it's going to come down to a risk analysis when people decide to get the vaccine. But Dr. Galiatsatos tells us that the risk is incredibly low.
It's always hard as human beings to kind of conceptualize when you hear a case, it sounds horrible, like your heart goes out. But recognize that case is very low. I always think of the analogy of planes, right? We hear plane crashes. But many of us still recognize that's a low probability. I'm still going to go out and fly.
So we could verify that based on what we know right now, the risk of blood clotting from COVID-19 is much higher than the risk from Johnson & Johnson vaccine. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kosloff.
We know there's a lot of misinformation spreading on social media about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and some questions about it. If you see something online you'd like our Verify team to check out, send us an email to verify@wcnc.com.
Switching gears now to weather. A sunny start to the day, but this evening we got some scattered showers moving through. Here's a live look over uptown Charlotte. Temperatures currently around 61 degrees. And while we've had some nice warm days to start the week, we are watching for a cold front on the way and more showers. Brad Panovich joining me now. Brad, will these showers help with pollen?
A little bit, but a lot of us are going to miss out again. Like today, the showers were just so isolated. Most areas stayed completely dry and saw nothing more than a few clouds. Now, it's mostly dry across the southeast. There is a cold front lurking to the west. This cold front is going to be pushing in with some cooler air behind it. Now, we're hoping we can squeeze out a few showers ahead of this front late tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to be tough going to get a lot of rain. You see temperatures very mild tonight, and tomorrow will be a mild day as well because temperatures are going to fall tonight into the 50s, but a quick warm up tomorrow with southerly winds cranking those temperatures up. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about the potential of a few showers, but really the cold air that's moving in behind this front. I'll tell you just how cold it's going to get coming up in that first warn forecast.
Brad, thank you. Well, parents outraged at tonight's Cabarrus County School Board meeting. They're upset about the Cabarrus County Middle School realignment. It's being driven by the construction of a new middle school and would pull middle school students out of their current enrollment. Some parents say the realignment could double or triple their commute. Many of them made a significant investment buying a home in the district. And they say it would have a negative impact on their children, taking them away from their friends they've been with since kindergarten and putting them in a new school.
Their safety is put at risk. They have no choice when it comes to IB, and they are ripped from their peer groups during a critical time.
Please don't do that. That's not fair. It's not fair to our children. It's not fair to our community, and we expect more out of elected officials.
The 7 of you should be ashamed and embarrassed as to how you've chosen to manage this process and engage with this community. It's completely disingenuous.
Parents are proposing what they call a Green Plus option, hence why some of them are wearing green tonight. The new middle school is being built on Roberta Road. That's set to open in 2022. Two big announcements tonight from CMS. First, the district says graduation ceremonies will be held in person. The district will limit each graduate to 2 guests, and all ceremonies will be live streamed for remote viewing. Also tonight, the Behringer Academic Center now has a new name. Tonight at the CMS board meeting, district leaders announced the school will be called the Charles H. Parker Academic Center. The Behringer name was removed after Osmond Behringer was said to have links to a racist past. The school's new title, Charles H. Parker, is named after a local activist in the early 1900s who was born into slavery, who went on to revamp the West Boulevard community, build schools, and provide affordable housing for people of color. The new name will take effect at the start of the next school year.
Still to come, seeing both sides as the gap between the force and the people they serve grows wider. A local organization is working to mend that relationship. Their message of a mutual partnership, how they're seeking solutions tonight.
Plus, millions of dollars going to the YMCA of Greater Charlotte. Now we're learning just how that mega donation will be used within our community. We'll tell you where's the money next.
Get ready for a warm Wednesday, but some big changes behind that front tomorrow. I'm talking about a big cool down in that extended forecast.